The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of chat. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking Season 3, Episode 6, The Lowlands. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast, where we cover our favorite TV show, C, on Apple TV. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here. What's up, dude?
I'm here. Hi.
Sorry.
Hi. What's up, Igor? Or not Igor. What's the donkey's name from Christopher Robin's? Eeyore.
Hi. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
I'm here to talk about this stupid show.
Might as well go home.
Might as well, gonna go to my hole down in the junkyard of woe.
Jude is also here.
Hi.
You're killing my vibe, man. What's up, Jude?
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
Okay. Matthew Kadish is also here. What's up, dude?
All right, so there's a fine line between an enjoyably goofy show and a bad show. And I feel like episode 6, called The Lowlands, which should be retitled The Low Point, is that point where C has officially jumped the shark from goofy enjoyable to infuriatingly bad.
No, you are 100% incorrect. I had so much fun with this episode. It was my favorite of the season so far.
I mean, you can have fun with a bad episode, but this was the worst episode of a very bad season. And I can't believe that the writers have just given up at this point.
You are incorrect because this show jumped the shark in season 1.
Yeah, episode 1, season 1, it did jump the shark. But I mean, like, from the point of being like a goofy, enjoyable bad show, this was just a plain bad episode.
I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing it.
We'll get into it.
Yeah,
then.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. I had a blast. This episode was fun. Great.
It was something.
Come on, man. The junkyard of woe.
This episode happened.
It is an episode of TV. Yes.
I had so much fun. I even texted some of the people. I'm like, this episode was so cool.
You know how we used to like really nitpick this show about how stuff just wouldn't happen?
Oh, Kofun is...
No.
Kofun.
I'm not talking about Kofun.
Oh, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about like the entire setting for most of this episode. It wouldn't fucking exist.
The junkyard.
It would not exist. There's still paint on some of these cars.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
All right, guys. If you can't tell, we might fight. We might fight this episode. So join us. We're going to be talking about this episode. We're going to spoiling the crap out of it. So if you have Apple TV, definitely go check it out. See, it's all there. It's Jason Momoa's TV show on there, and it's something.
It's a show.
It's a show. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. As soon as we're back, we're going to dive right into this episode and break it down for you. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you guys would like to support what we do here on the podcast, you can go to saltynerd.com/DC and download a video game called Dragon Champions on your Android or Apple device. And it's a lot of fun. The developers of this video game help support us on the podcast, and we want to return the favor by sending them players for their game. You can type in the promo code SALTY in the promo code area, and it gives you a leg up. It gives you an extra character, some gold, a couple coins, some mojo, whatever the heck, and all kinds of really cool stuff. And once you reach level 20, then you can join the Salty Nerd Podcast Guild and join us on some of our guild raids. We have a very active chat in our Discord specifically for this video game where you can get pointers from some of the long-term players, and we get promo codes every once in a while that help us even more. So if you want to take full advantage of that, make sure you head over to the Discord app and join us there at saltynerd.com/DC for Dragon Champions. All right, let's get into this episode. I can't wait. Take it away, Kadish.
All right. C, Season 3, Episode 6, The Lowlands, which should be called The Low Point.
You're lying.
We already heard you.
In Pensa, Tamacti Jun and Magra are wondering where the missing witchfinders may have gone. Magra asks for news of her family, but Tamacti Jun says that even if everything at the House of Enlightenment went perfectly, they wouldn't be back just yet. When they get to the palace, they find that once again the palace guards are completely worthless, and Magra's entire small council has been slaughtered, as in murdered, as in completely destroyed. Tamacti Jun tells Magra that witchfinders are responsible, since apparently witchfinders leave calling card crosses on the eyes of the people they kill now for some reason. Magra demands to know how the witchfinders got past their defenses, and everyone's like, have you met our palace guards? Even loud dogs can sneak by them. Tamacti Jun says there were only 3 or 4 witchfinders, a small group who infiltrated the palace. And Magra realizes that Sybeth was right. Violence must be met with violence, and vows to bring the witchfinders to justice.
Finally!
I know how they could have completely saved the council.
How?
Well, you need to replace the palace guards, so they're useless, with a fucking satellite dish. Dude, impenetrable. Would not have gotten in there.
You are 100% correct.
Oh, God. Immediately, as soon as they walk in, they see all the dead bodies. And I'm like, where was Guildenstein?
Where's Rosencrantz?
Where's
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Where the hell were they?
They didn't see anybody, but they smelled them. He was like,
I mean,
smell blood.
forget Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Where was No?
Yeah, the dogs fucked off.
They're like all fucking off over at the pissing pole. It was just like...
And like the funny thing about the small council thing is like they established in a previous episode that each small council member
comes from a different.
Well, it's not that they come from different areas; that they have their own personal guard.
Oh, yeah.
So where were they?
They're dead. I don't know. But the addition to the X's over the eyes.
Why? It's season 3. We have what, 3 episodes left, and all of a sudden they're like, they do that now.
Yeah.
Why?
all of a sudden they're holy warriors.
I love it. I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. It's because Lucian is Irish. And when instead of the pennies over the eyes, they're doing crosses over it because he's in charge now.
Lucian.
That's it. That's
Fucking
the reason.
Lucian.
Fucking
Fuck
Lucian.
that guy.
Well, they do later.
I mean, if 3 or 4 witchfinders could sneak into the small council and literally murder the entire ruling class of Pensa, why couldn't they have just murdered Magra?
Well, you know what?
She wasn't there.
It's a good thing Magra wasn't there because she would have fucked them all up.
With their whistle sword?
I'm not even talking about this time. Like
So
at any
over that
point,
whistle sword.
at any point when they were like, oh, like she's spouting heresy, they could have easily snuck into the palace and just killed her while she was sleeping or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the guards are worthless.
Useless.
Sorry, completely
Like that scene where she's like, how could they have gotten past our defenses? I was like, are you kidding me? What in the history of this show led you to believe that Pensa's defenses were capable of stopping anything?
I love it.
First of all,
I got it.
First of all, what defenses?
They snuck into the palace through
The dick room.
The dick room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
that's it. Yeah, that's the ticket.
This part was so, and then immediately when Magra's like, "Oh my God, my sister was right. I am a terrible leader." I'm like, "Welcome to the party, sweetheart."
We all know.
You're a
I'm
terrible
glad you
leader.
know now.
Fucking Tamacti Jun over there's like, "I told you so."
Your kids are useless. You're a terrible leader, and your husband likes to rub poop in people's faces. It's insane.
Even Tamacti Jun is so out of character. Where he's like, "You showed them mercy," and she's like, "I'm done with mercy."
Didn't he suggest she not do that? Was it, or no? He was like, "No, you did. You made a good call."
He didn't want her to kill them.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Tamacti.
No one does. No
he's
one
kind
does.
of
It's gone soft.
He has. I feel like he's just been mischaracterized or something this whole season. I don't know what the word is. He doesn't seem like Tamacti Jun.
Yeah, he's off his rocker, man. I hope by the end of the
He's just
season.
Magra's yes man this whole season.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Well, I feel like in seasons 1 and 2, Tamacti Jun was at least like competent.
Yeah.
He's become incompetent this season for no reason at all.
Oh, we're going hard.
Yeah.
What gave you the impression we would ever go soft on this show? Look, we love you guys, but I mean, it's the Salty Nerd podcast.
Maybe that's why they like us. I don't know.
Maybe this is why Apple won't sponsor us.
I keep tagging the official C account on Instagram, and they completely ghost me the whole time. I'm just like, I get it. I understand. It's fine. We are who we are.
Yeah, it was nice being friends with Tropper while it lasted.
I know.
It's gonna be like, don't you review my show? Get the fuck out of
We
here.
were gonna do that other one.
Remember how I said I would introduce you to Anthony Starr? Fuck off. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
We like you.
So all the council people are dead.
Yeah.
For no.
Magra's whole city is gone now at this
The
point. She
city's
just
blasted. Nothing left but the shitty
people.
logs and the pissing poles
and the drunk
I
people.
mean, all Harlan wants is to save his city, but like, you should probably get a new queen.
where the hell was Rosencrantz and Guildenstern? They were gone.
They're gone.
And
Where were any palace guards?
it was-
Where's Wolf?
Are they still like going door to door looking for
Who's
Sybeth?
taking care of the baby?
Yeah.
Is the baby
Where is the
on
baby?
Nose back and Nose just like trucking
Trucking
through
around.
Pensa?
That'd be a safer place for
where
him.
is the baby? We didn't see the baby once.
The
this
wet nurse
episode.
has to have him. That's the only explanation we have.
Where's Wolfie, man?
I think they forgot about him.
They just kind
Kind
of
of forgot about
Just
Wolf.
kind of forgot about
Well,
Wolf.
that plot point's done.
Yeah, they're fine.
Wolfie's hanging out in the music lab making music, learning how to play guitar.
Making bombs.
I don't even. Oh God. All right, let's keep going.
All right. In the wilderness on the route from the House of Enlightenment back to Pensa, Harlan is like, this is too slow. So he suggests a shortcut through an area called the Lowlands. When asked why they didn't take the shortcut to begin with, Harlan's like, it's extremely dangerous. And he has only successfully traveled through it 2 times. So apparently all the other times he used it, he died. Okay, that tracks. So instead of sending Kofun on ahead on a horse while the rest of the crew tracks down Tormada to destroy the bombs, they decide to risk never making it to Pensa at all by taking the shortcut through the Lowlands and dying untimely deaths. Boba Voss likes this idea because of course he does, and he tells Harlan to lead the way. Hey guys, remember when Harlan was actually smart? Good times.
It makes sense. It's fine.
No,
Sure.
it doesn't.
We need to get there faster.
Well,
I know of one shortcut, but it's extremely dangerous.
we have a bunch of cannibals that we want to introduce.
No, they're ghosts.
So-
They're ghosts.
Or there might be dogs.
I mean, this idea that they have 3-sided people with them, and they established in season 2 that Ren leading the blind people
Goes
can
faster.
get them
Yeah.
anywhere they want to go faster.
Yeah.
And Kofun is an expert horse rider who can basically gallop anywhere he needs to go in record time.
Yeah.
So this idea that like they're all too slow to make it to Pensa in time to warn them about Tormada doesn't track at all.
But the sighted people aren't here to make calls. They're being led by Boba Voss and Harlan, and they're the leaders. And they're like, we have a shortcut.
They know these things, though. They already know that if they have sight, they can go faster. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sighted people can take them off established trails and get them to places faster. This whole idea that they intentionally go to a place that would endanger all their lives and their mission, as opposed to just using sight to like travel faster on the established route, doesn't make any sense.
You know what would have fixed this is if like Kofun and Henoa were saying, they're like, look, we can see Pensa from here. We just have to go that way. And Harlan's like, no, you don't want to go that way. Trust me. That's a bad way to go. And they're like, no, but
it smells weird.
Like, we can literally see Pensa. It's right there. We can get there faster if we cut across this way. And he's like, no, I mean, it'll be faster, but it's super dangerous. And then they convince him to just go, like, that would have made sense. I could understand that.
Or Kofun being like, can we walk towards the big trebuchet-looking things that are in the distance right out inside the city? Because those things are really easy to see.
Well, they should have blown them up last episode, but they were going too fast.
Yeah, apparently.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where's their gun?
I know, right? The entire time I was like, why isn't Hanoa shooting these things?
We haven't even got to them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't even got to them.
I want to get to the junkyard of woe.
Okay,
Matt.
let's get to the junkyard of woe.
I have something. I have comments about the junkyard of woe.
All right.
Don't even try to escape.
All right. Tormada meets with the bank, who he somehow was able to call ahead about his losses at the House of Enlightenment in enough time for the bank to personally travel from Cervantes to meet Tormada with reinforcements. How did she know to do this? Did Tormada send smoke signals, a raven? Did he use a satellite dish? How did the bank hear about what happened and meet up with him within the span of a few hours? Best not to ask questions. The bank also says that until she can buy off the loyalties of the generals, she cannot reveal her part in the coup, despite the fact that blowing up all the generals and then aligning herself with the people who did it might be kind of a red flag. Dr. Rodney Tormada then reveals he built machines that can launch bombs great distances, though when he had the time and resources to do this, or where he stashed these machines, is anyone's guess. The bank then gives Tormada his troops and fucks back off to Cervantes, never once asking where Trover is or what happened to her.
Things happen.
She's dead. Doesn't matter.
I mean, she's part of the triangle, so you'd think,
Yeah.
hey, she went with you, Tormada. Where is she now?
Here's what I think. I think Gendry is on this. We just didn't. We haven't seen him.
I gotta go, guys. I got a message to send.
I gotta book it.
I think one of the issues I have with this scene in particular is, Hewlett and the other triangle person, they're sitting there and they're talking about their armies and all this kind of
there's
stuff.
like 20
there's
people.
like 12 dudes.
Yeah, I know.
All right. I mean, I know they filmed this during the Rona years and all this stuff, and they had,
COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
restriction and everything. But I mean, come on.
Besides-
it doesn't. It feels off when they say, "Oh, I brought you a regiment of an army," and there's then 12 dudes cross the road. to
Yeah.
find the other 12 dudes that are sitting there pulling the wagon.
But here's the thing, though.
Makes no sense.
You're looking at this through the eyes of somebody who has like 8 billion people on the planet. At this point in time in this universe, there's not that many people. So a regiment, an army unit is not as significant as like what we think of as like 20,000 soldiers.
We just watched a scene a couple on the first episode of this season where
the Ganites,
where they just had a massive battle.
There was like 50 people there.
So it
wasn't that many.
In season 1, didn't they establish that there's like around just 1 million people left?
Yeah, there's not that many people left.
Yeah.
So like the Ganites were a huge threat, but there was like 100 of them, and the Trevantians sent like 12 soldiers and Ren.
Yeah.
So like armies don't mean the same thing that they do now.
And didn't she say, "Here's your reinforcements that you"?
She brought a battalion.
Yeah, there was like
of 12 people.
No, I think there was probably
there's like maybe 16.
Maybe I would say 20. I was gonna guess. I'm guessing. I didn't count.
Too much from the show.
Yeah, guys, how did the bank get word about this?
Okay, no, legitimately, and I know the show doesn't bother to establish this, but in my mind, when I saw this scene happen, I was like, okay, so Tormada already knew I'm going to go to the House of Enlightenment, I'm going to get my bombs, and then I'm going to head back and I'm going to take over Pensa. That was my mission.
And I'll meet you at this.
I'll meet you at the windmill or the chandelier, crossing point. And when we meet there, then we'll go to Pensa. I'll take your guys with me.
That's not what she said, though. The bank, when she showed up, she's like, I received word that you lost a number of people at the House of Enlightenment. So I came and brought with me this battalion to help reinforce you. So the idea that somehow Tormada was able to get word to Travantes, and then the bank was then able to get those soldiers and then meet him halfway within the span of like what, a day, maybe 2.
So they
like
had a bunch of string, and they
they jiggled it. There's a string all the way across, and they went ding ding, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta go."
They used the catapult to send the string that way.
I'm sorry, guys. I tried.
I feel like everything in this show though is about 3 miles away.
This is true.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have sent a scout.
No, Travantes is Pittsburgh, okay, which is on the edge of Pennsylvania. And then Pensa is State College, which is in the middle of Pennsylvania.
How far is that?
That's about a 3-hour drive.
So
120 miles.
But even like let's say they go from the House of Enlightenment to they send a messenger from the House of Enlightenment to Pensa, or not Pensa, Travantes.
Yeah.
And then Travantes then goes and meets them halfway. That's way more than of a time gap than would have been in the show.
Harlan says they're cutting through the lowlands to save them a day or 2.
Yeah, I think time is passing and we're not seeing it.
But I want to know how the bank got word, or how she heard about this thing, because it literally happened like yesterday.
I really need you to let it go.
He had to have sent a scout. That's the only explanation. I tried the other explanation. He just called me out on it. So
normally Matt's nitpicky stuff about this drives me crazy, but he's right.
No,
he
yeah,
absolutely has a point here, and it really
they should have had
a little bit.
They should have had one scene at the end of last season the end of the last episode or the beginning of this episode where Tormada who's my fastest man? You go there and tell the bank we need reinforcements, and then that would have answered all these questions, and we would have been done. And it was like, oh, it's been a day and a half to 2 days since the last episode has ended, and that would have solved all the issues.
You never see them like moving fast. They're always just kind of like meandering down the road, probably about 2 miles an hour.
They got their horses with their carriages with the bombs and shit like that.
Well, the other thing, in addition to that bothered me about this scene is the complete lack of concern about Trover. It's like Tormada basically assumes that she's dead, I guess. Yeah. But they don't know for sure. But the last time the bank knew, Trover was traveling with Tormada. And if she wasn't there, the bank would have to assume that Tormada killed her. Mm-hmm. And so she should be like, maybe I should be worried about my own safety. But I think that they fall into the J.J. Abrams trap of the audience knows Trover's dead, so the characters all know that she's dead, and it isn't a thing anymore. But this whole thing about we need to convince the generals to side with us, it's part of the coup is you have the military in your pocket, and Hewlett should be controlling the generals at this point. So this whole kind of continuing thing, it's we're kind of in charge, but we're not really. I need to convince people that we're on their side. It's no, that's not how coups work.
You have control of them. Just tell them what to do. Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
And also, weren't the generals at the meeting, and then they get blown up with the rest of the triangle?
Yeah, they should have been behind Flanagan in that little stand area.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know, dude. I tried to defend it, and I can't.
There also should have been a general at the Ganite battle, but I guess like there was no general there until Tormada showed up.
Oh, Ren was kind of like the leader, right? Was she?
No, she's like a lieutenant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's what's the other dude that was there? That was like the man in charge. It doesn't matter. Let's keep going.
All right, so it turns out the Lowlands are a Roger Avery-style automobile graveyard, and Boo Boo, Harlan, the twins, Poopbeard, Ren, and Harlan's homie are all tiptoeing through the area. Boo Boo tries to get Kofun to make nice with his sister, but Hanawa is still mad at Kofun for burning all the House of Enlightenment books, and Kofun's like, bitch, you almost shot me. But before the siblings can slap fight it out, everyone starts noticing movement in the area surrounding them. And yes, now all 3 sighted characters are snuck up on by blind people. And not just any blind people, but feral cannibal blind people who kidnap Harlan, Hanawa, and Harlan's homie. Turns out the cannibal Holocaust hunters don't leave any tracks, not even footprints, I guess. So Boo Boo is unable to use his slaver skills to track them. Boo Boo does what they should have done in the first place and sends Kofun ahead on his horse to warn Magra about Tormada while he, Ren, and Poopbeard set a trap for the cannibals so they can follow them to their lair. Kofun's like, ugh, my kid's there. Can I face the cannibals with you instead? And Boo Boo's like, no. Now, even though you're probably going to get captured, go on ahead without us. And Kofun gallops off to inevitably fail at his task as Harlan's shortcut turns into a very long and pointless side quest.
How dare you? I had so much fun.
So one of my biggest issues with this episode is that basically this whole thing with, you know, the junkyard of woe and the cannibal Holocaust hunters, it feels so detached from the main thrust of the narrative that it really is a filler episode disguised as something like impactful, I guess. We're going to get into it in a little bit. But basically, like, this side quest of them having to rescue Harlan and Hanawa from cannibals has nothing to do with the main thrust of the story. And it was literally just popped into this season in order to keep Boba Voss from getting back to Pensa too fast so that they could set up, like, the siege.
It's like we're 2 episodes from the end, and all of a sudden there's cannibals, mutants out there. Doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't like it.
No?
No, these people should have been in like the first season.
Yep.
Well, they've established that there's been cannibal clans.
It's not the fact that they're cannibals. It's the fact that this is a storyline that's happening and distracting from the main thrust of the narrative.
Every time something new happens, Baba's like, yes, I heard this tale of woe back in my slaver days.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can fix this. It's like instead of cannibals, they run into a clan of slave traders.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
It's over. It's fixed.
So
they like maybe Boba Voss's old crew, or
Boots' old tribe,
or a rival clan of slave traders that are out there that have taken over this junkyard that shouldn't exist to begin with. No, I'm serious. The fucking junkyard pisses me off. All right. None of these cars would be
500 years from now. You don't think a 57 Chevy is going to be laying around?
No, it won't, because when I grew up, we had shit like this on the ranch. Every ranch has a junkyard.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, Avery style junkyard, like Matt said, how to make a murderer or whatever.
Yeah.
None of that shit would be there. Shit erodes.
Especially
it rusts out.
In an environment like Pennsylvania.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been in a junkyard that had like a 1960, 1950, whatever car sitting there, and there's nothing left of it.
Yeah.
And it's only been sitting there like 30 years.
Yeah. Out here in the desert.
It's a complete shell of nothingness.
Yeah. In the Vegas desert, I could believe something like this would probably last because there's no moisture. Not in Pennsylvania.
Through the winter?
I guess in the defense of the show, Halo had Chevy Tahoes 500 years in the future that worked perfectly fine.
Don't mention Halo right now, man.
That's the kind of stuff that's like, and I know they're just trying to like make a cool future, a post-apocalyptic scene,
dystopian stuff.
But I mean, Christ, you can.
I did not give
paint jobs and shit on this thing.
I did not give a shit. I was like, cannibals? Yeah. Oh, okay. And like the establishing shot, I'm going to defend this show. Fuck it. The establishing shot where they're like walking through this whole the parking lot of woe and they're like, look, and they see people like climbing over the hill, which is why they don't leave footprints, by the way, because they climb on top of the cars. And they're
not through the woods.
Yeah, and how do they not make any noise climbing on top of cars?
Yeah, the big metal climbing over them. No, I was like, I don't know. I was sucked into it. I was like, oh, freaking cannibals! Yes, this is gonna be awesome.
You know what?
I had so much fun.
the crew
Yeah.
should have watched this History Channel series.
Oh, on What Will Be Left, or what's it called? After Humanity?
After People.
I love that show.
It spells it out.
Yeah.
500 years after People, there's nothing left except Mount Rushmore, basically.
This entire series relies on the audience not thinking about it too much, because the minute you apply one bit of logic to the show, everything falls apart.
Yeah.
All the freeways erode and become soil, and they're still there under the soil level.
Yeah, but the soil's taken over.
The grasses, flowers, you can't see them.
And we actually saw a little bit of that in season 1.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that was really left in season 1 was like concrete structures that were like half
The
toppled
dam.
over.
Hoover Dam will be here 5,000 years from now.
Maybe.
No, it will. It's not going fucking anywhere. Hoover Dam and Mount Rushmore, I think, are like the only two things that are still standing.
The lake won't be.
No, for real. In 5,000 years, according to the show, Hoover Dam, the lake might not be there.
The lake's not even there. The lake's not
dam
even
will
there
be
now.
Mount Rushmore and Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
They're about the only remaining vestiges
They
of
should
humanity.
They should have based this show in the Southwest.
Sure.
Way more things would have still been around in this time period out here.
Yeah.
For sure. Vegas would have been the sand dune, but it still would have had the higher buildings and stuff like that. Ren still would have had her 5-star apartment building at the top.
They had to film in, where were they? Vancouver?
Yeah, in Canada.
Canada.
The Pittsburgh, the Travanti stuff, the buildings I can buy because they're steel and concrete.
Yeah.
That stuff's a lot of that stuff's still going to be here, but not fucking
Chevys and shit.
Chevys, and, cars
I don't know, man. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you.
It's rusty dust. None of that stuff's
I
there.
get it.
Like we haven't even talked about the fact that there are 3 people with sight, and so just setting aside the fact that Kofun is worthless and he always gets snuck on by blind people.
Right.
You have 2 other characters who are supposed to be more competent than Kofun, who don't see any of these guys coming. It's like as long as they're off screen, the people with sight are as blind as like the people who don't have the sight.
Show.
Yeah.
The show doesn't want sight to be able to fix anything.
Yes. We've talked to the people about this already. A sight in this world, sight is a weakness because they rely too much on it.
But realistically, 3 people can look at the tops of cars and people in bone mass crawling over them and be like, oh, maybe we should run. This idea that these blind people are able to sneak up on 3 people with sight just doesn't track with me. It just doesn't.
Okay, I'm going to tear apart your logic, and here's how I'm going to do it. You said the word realistically.
One thing I just want to say, the one thing I did like is like when they realized that they were getting surrounded, Boba Voss signaled to Ranger and he just like slices his sword open and closed, and Ranger's like, "Oh, okay, time to go."
It's on.
Yeah, it's on.
But you know what would have helped in this scene is a gun.
Yeah. Well,
where was the gun?
You gotta stop, man.
Did she just throw it into the flames with the books?
Yes, she was like, I don't need this anymore. All the guns are gone. Finally, I don't know.
Well, even the bows and arrows, like she was using those bows and arrows pretty well.
Hannah was kicking ass this episode.
How many arrows does she have?
Well, here's the thing: when you're Hawkeye, you never run out of arrows.
Yes, and also as long as it doesn't break, you can always go and pull it out of the person you just shot and reuse it.
And also, without those books, that gun is useless.
But I also think that like the fact that Hannah got kidnapped, you'd think Rin would have like chased after her at least.
Well, she tried, but she lost the people that took her. Like she was like, I don't know where they went. They took her off and they disappeared in the mist.
But I mean, like she can look at like footprints in the mud, or like she would be a better tracker than Boba Voss would be, at least, because she could see things that he can't.
Not according to this show.
Yeah, you're breaking the rules of the show, man. All right, let's keep going. Go ahead.
All right. On the way back to Pensa, Tormada's caravan gets stopped by Queen Kane and her army of witchfinders. How they knew Tormada would be traveling this way and were able to catch up with them before Boba Voss and his crew is anyone's guess. But Dr. Rodney Tormada is smart enough to know when he's outgunned and bends the knee to the Queen of Snakes. And Sybeth's like, yeah, I heard you were smart. Now show me your big, beautiful bomb.
Bada boom.
Was big bada boom. I freaking love this stuff with Sylvia and Hewlett.
Oh, yes.
In.
Sparks
well, anytime Hewlett's on screen in this show, it just becomes awesome.
But just his character alone with Sylvia's, like he's so bloodthirsty and like wants to be Alexander the Great and like conquer the freaking countryside.
Yeah, and also like when he's being held at sword point, he's so like, let's just get this over with. Who are you? What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want?
And she's he's like, oh, I'm Sybeth. And he's like, oh, my queen.
Yeah, the look on his face when she announces herself, it's just like, ooh, he knows who she is.
Yeah, that's a playing card he can use.
Yeah.
I love the dynamic between the two characters, especially later on in a couple scenes later. I was just like,
so good together.
I had so much fun watching that.
I want to go to this wedding.
Yeah. Everybody's going to die.
I don't want to go to that wedding. No.
If there aren't at least 3 deaths at a wedding,
it's a boring wedding.
But how did they know to like ambush them at this point? Like, how did they know who they were, where they were coming from?
They were like just gonna rob from the rich and give to the poor. They're
it's Sybeth and the Men in Tights.
I mean, Sybeth knew exactly who Tormada was and where he was, and she even called him out as soon as like her troops, kind of like ambushed them. So like, I'm just wondering, like, if Boba Voss and his crew couldn't catch up to Tormada, how did Sybeth do it?
Well, they're going to Pensa.
First of
all,
all,
Sybeth is just outside of Pensa.
But how did she know he was coming that way?
She's in the surrounding area.
I just have to say really quick, I want that Sybeth and Men in Tights musical.
Okay.
With the rattlesnake.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. I don't know. I just figured that they were like in that area and they were just outside of Pensa because the Witchfinders are not inside Magra's territory. And Tormada, to get to Pensa, has to cross through Magra's area. And she's like, oh, there's somebody coming. Sounds like a train of horses and trailers and bombs and stuff. It sounds like bombs. I'm gonna go talk to these people and take over their stuff.
I'm trying to remember who actually knew that they have bombs.
Because Kofun told her.
Oh, that dumb fuck. Okay.
Yeah. He's like,
was that it?
Baby mama, you're not going to believe what's happening out there.
They've got bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're leaving to go to the House of Enlightenment to destroy bombs.
Yeah. And she's like, how interesting.
Yeah, and how did she know that they didn't succeed? Because that's where Boba Voss
because
was
it's Kofun.
Did Tormada send out like a raven to Pensa as well?
No, I like that. Sybeth just assumed that Kofun would fail.
Oh, he's going on this mission.
It's doomed.
He's definitely going to fail.
That tracks. That tracks.
That's it. That's the answer.
Just send the bartender out to capture him.
But what's funny is, so like later on in the episode, we find like the camp where Tormada is going to be like staging the attack or like whatever.
Yeah.
And it would have made more sense if the Witchfinders had stumbled upon the camp and then heard like them coming in and stormed the camp and had the showdown there than just some random road. Because like it felt like Sybeth had to know too many things to make that work. So again, this is just like one of those things where like this entire episode was just one plot contrivance after another to get to the point where like, alliances can be made and the stage for the penultimate episode can be set.
Because they're building those trebuchets just right outside town, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, assembling it. So I think he had them, and it was like an erector set. Yeah. And he just like transported it and then built them on the site.
And we're going to talk about this when we get to that scene, but I have a lot to say about those trebuchets.
I think the Ayuras would be able to
somebody's building something big.
Yeah, something's off.
Or like
something weird is happening.
Any of the caravans of traders going in and out of Pensa might have been like, hey, there's something going on over there.
I sense a god tower.
There are a lot of heartbeats coming from that field a mile or two away.
A god tower. I love it. All right, let's keep going.
All right. Mahgra and Tamacti Jun pull a good cop, bad cop and interrogate a blacksmith who is loyal to the Witchfinders for information about where the group that assassinated the small council is hiding. Magra's like, say hello to my little friend, and uses her whistle sword to cut off some fingers. After spitting at her and swearing he'll never give up the info, the blacksmith immediately tells her everything he knows, and then insults her again and loses his hand anyway. Way to read the room, Mr. Blacksmith. Magra leads Tamacti Jun and Captain Gossett to the 500-year-old garage where the Witchfinders are hiding, and they face off with the assassins and their leader, Lucian's right-hand lady, Shiloh. Remember her? No one does. Nope. Shiloh is all like, bitch, where you at? And Magra's like, bitch, I'm right here. And it's a whistle sword against steel rod fight, and the whistle sword wins. A defeated Shiloh's like, hashtag not my queen. And Magra's like, but I'm Queen Kane. And Shiloh's like, no, you dumb bitch, Sybeth. Sybeth is my queen. And Magra's like, what could you possibly mean? And Shiloh's like, oh my God, you're literally the worst. And Magra's like, oh, my evil mastermind sister. Right. She's taken over the Witchfinders. And after Shiloh swears never to betray her Witchfinder brethren, she's like, oh, the Queen of Snakes has also teamed up with Tormada and now controls the big bada boom. And she's totally going to attack Pensa. And Shiloh then begs for death, and Tamacti Jun's like, death must be earned. And once again, Magra leaves an enemy alive because reasons.
I just got this vision of a bunch of blind people that look like the Minions. Little yellow.
Big bada boom.
Have fun storming the cabin.
All right, listen. I love like bloodlust, rageful Magra. I'm into it.
Hater.
Really?
Fucking hater.
Way better than the freaking wishy-washy Magra.
Little too late. Go back to the mountains.
Oh,
We
no.
are 2 episodes from the end of this series, and all of a sudden, Magra, the
Is
wise,
bloodthirsty.
is a fucking psychopath.
She flips back and forth every single episode.
How is this not
No.
consistent with her character, though?
Okay, that's a fair point.
It's like,
Fair point.
It's just,
I'm like,
not
finally, I'm on board with Magra.
And
I'm like,
she
yes.
never fucked Harlan.
Now it's too late.
yeah, no wonder he didn't give a shit anymore. So, I'm never going to get a piece of that.
She's got her Robin Hood outfit on too.
Listen, okay, and there's one thing I do need, though. I need this whistle sword to actually be a whistle sword.
Right?
So,
Yeah, right.
listen, man,
Make
when
some-
they're fighting and I hear just like the slightest little I'm like, no, bitch. Make that thing fucking like have
I want it to fucking wail.
Make that thing sing, and what I want it to do is I want it to confuse all of the other blind fighters who are like, where the
Right.
fuck is it coming from?
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
The last 2 episodes, if she has any more fight scenes, I want you to go back, re-edit it, and just amp up that whistle sound
Yeah.
120%. Make that shit loud and annoying because that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, like when you're fighting Daredevil in a bell tower.
Yeah, and you ring the bell, and he's all like, ah! Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. And I'm like waiting for it to happen. I'm like, yeah, give me that whistle sword shit. And it's like,
Lame.
It's like, I know that they've set her up to. They've always set her up to be the talker, the mediator, the person who doesn't believe in.
she wants to be the opposite of Sybeth.
Right.
Yeah.
She's the nonviolent queen, you know?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden her being, I mean, I know they set her up a little bit with her little workout plan that she had a few episodes ago, working out with her sword that she finally got back after 20 years of being out in the woods. But it doesn't work. It does not work for me. This switch that she went off, and now all of a sudden she's some bloodthirsty psycho cutting fingers and hands off and stuff. It's just like, it doesn't work in my head. I can see Tamacti Jun doing that stuff, but I can't see.
I disagree. I think
Magra doing
she's been trying so hard not to be that person, and she realized this is just not working.
No, but like the second she decides, I'm gonna fight violence with violence, and now all of a sudden she's an expert at it.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden,
And also the fact that she's like, I'm done with mercy, and she leaves like the woman who orchestrated the killing of her entire small council alive because she sliced her on her leg, and she's like, you can no longer walk. It's like, that's gonna heal.
Yeah, I think she's gonna be all right.
No, I'm pretty sure they went pretty deep on those legs. Did you guys see that
I hope
wound after she walked away?
She has to bleed out.
What did
She's gonna have to.
Tamacti say to her? Because
Death must be earned. What the fuck does she have to do to earn a death?
no, but he says something like the
dying
worst
battle.
thing that can happen to a witchfinder is to have not be able to walk or something like that. Is that what he says? I swear he said something.
No,
like that to her.
she said that you know, she's unable to walk. Shiloh is because like they sliced her leg.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the leg was bloody, but like, you know, Sheila's basically there like, kill me now. And,
Yeah.
and Magra's like, no. And like, she just like walks away. I thought Magra was done with mercy. Like by all measure.
Because not killing her is worse than killing her.
Apparently, again, like she spared her once already, and she saw what happened from that thing. I mean, she pulls a Tormada where she's like, "I'm just going to assume she dies and everything goes according to plan."
What would have been a dope scene is if like it would have just seen the camera would have been on Tamacti Jun, and you just hear like, and then the head chops off. Like have something like that. Like have the whistle go and him being like, oh. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Magra needs to start walking through people like she's walking through a jungle.
Yeah, are you here to help me? No.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Well, at this point, no witchfinder that conspired against her should be off the table. Like they should just be killing these people straight up.
Death earned.
Yep.
Stamp. Death approved.
Death approved.
All right. Hannah and Harlan awaken all tied up in the pit of despair, and they both realize that Harlan's homie Gunter was eaten by the blind cannibals for breakfast. Hannah tells Harlan that Baba will come for them, and Harlan hopes it's before second breakfast. Harlan then tells Hanawa, you know, we never really talked. And for a brief shining moment, we're treated to Harnawa. Hashtag Harnawa.
Oh, I hate it when you shit.
But for a society that relies an awful lot on hearing, it seems no one can hear Hanawa and Harlan's whispering loudly to one another. So they're totally oblivious as Hanawa directs Harlan towards some broken shards on the floor to cut his bonds with. But regardless, for some reason, a cannibal drags Harlan to the other side of the dungeon because food shouldn't talk to each other and dashes any hopes of escape. And now Hanawa knows what it feels like to be Kofun.
Hanawa is the loudest fucking whisperer ever.
Yeah.
She's like,
And it's funny because they keep cutting back to the cannibals, and they're just like, huh?
Listen,
oh, no,
okay.
Okay.
This is every horror movie trope ever is the loud whisper,
Yeah.
right? And they're like, oh my God, they're right inside that room with us. And it's like, fucking shut up.
and I thought for a minute that like the cannibals forgot where they put their next meal. Because I was
Dude,
like, why
okay.
are you guys just sitting there?
I know you guys are poking holes through this freaking thing like Swiss cheese, but I had a shit-eating grin on my face this entire scene. I was having so much fun. When they zoom over and they see just the dude's head on the grill, and it's like, it's Harlan's
Homie.
Thank you.
Gunther!
Gunther! I was like, oh no, Gunther! I was having so much fun with this. I didn't give a shit about anything else. I was like, this is freaking awesome.
You are correct. It was hilarious.
I loved it.
I'm pretty sure the show wanted us to be like, oh no, what's going to happen?
No, I was like, this is great.
Yeah, it was like, oh, this is fucking hilarious. This is comedy gold.
Because they can't see his head. But he's like, oh no, I think that's my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I had going through my head?
What's
you know,
that?
There was a little movie with Sylvester Stallone in it that we watched not too long ago
was
called
it?
Judge Dredd.
Okay.
So all I have in my head
is the Angel Family?
The Angel Family.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul! There's people walking through the junkyard! You want me to shoot them? We're going to go cook them up on the stove! Woo! I'm going to crank it up a little bit. Whoa! I'm going to go get them blind people, them motherfuckers over there. It's like, no, it's just like... And then Boba Voss comes in and kills them all. And, you know, and it's just, Jesus. It was fucking cannibal mutants.
Yes, please. Give me more.
Come on.
Junkyard cannibals.
I wanted
That
so
sounds like a
much.
History Channel show. Junkyard Cannibals.
It's unreal.
Somebody
like-
needs to go find some junkyard cannibals.
I want the Angel family back. I want to say, yeah. Come on, Paul. Let's go get them goddamn blind people.
Boba Voss over there like, you can't kill me, I'm the law.
I'm Boba Voss.
I'm Boba Voss. I'm the law.
But the funniest part about this whole scene is that this is a total Kofun scene, but Hannah was in it.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Did you cover the part where she stumbles and makes a shit ton of noise?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're gonna
Oh
get
my
to
God.
it.
I called that shit like a solid 5 minutes before it happened.
Amazing. We got to get there. Let's get there.
All right. Over at camp, fuck you, Pensa. Sybeth is sweetly caressing one of Tormada's massive iron balls. When Lucian brings Tormada into her with chains on, Sybeth is like, that's no way to treat my future husband. How dare you shackle him? And Tormada's like, husband? Tell me more. And Sybeth proposes a marriage alliance, and Tormada's like, that's a plan so crazy, it just might work. Of course, Lucian's not too happy with this idea since Tormada is a dirty Trevantian, and the only thing worse than a Trevantian is someone who has the ability to see. Not liking his attitude, Sybeth pulls the old bad guy cliche of killing their closest and most devoted henchmen, because why not? It isn't like all the witchfinders who are loyal to him are going to turn on her after they find out he's dead. I mean, she killed all their families and destroyed their Kanzuan homes already, so what's one more leader that they all adore? And Tormada's like, I like your style, my future wife. Shall we pray together?
Well, remember when she thought she killed Tamacti Jun and the Witchfinders still followed her?
Yeah, I don't give
Well,
a shit.
she covered that up with Magra's help, though.
She did. Yeah.
I had so much fun with these two. I was just like, this is amazing. I need more.
Oh no!
Like,
Every time Hewlett's on screen, the show becomes good, and him and Sylvia together,
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah.
Like, these two need their own TV show.
Truly.
yeah. They have such amazing chemistry on screen together when they're like, you know, he's bloodthirsty as hell. She's crazy as fuck. You add these two together and they're like, of course they're going to try to conquer the world.
I hope these two kids can make it work.
I'm honestly, I'm kind of mad at Hewitt right now.
Why?
Because we've poked him a little bit about what happens.
They're not allowed to tell us anything.
I know.
Say nothing.
And man, he has been a fucking stone cold rock.
Yep.
It's like,
even
Sylvia Hooks, who's that?
Yeah,
I don't know who.
I think we had a couple of scenes together.
I think we had a couple of scenes together. The best scene in the show.
You guys got married.
Like, what the hell, man? I was, again, shit-eating grin on my face. I had so much fun with this episode.
I'll tell you, the thing that I hated most about this episode, and this scene in particular, is that the deaths that occur in this episode are so unearned and cheap. So, like, the whole thing, like, they've spent literally, like, 5 episodes setting up Lucian as, Magra's primary, like, villain. They set up his rivalry with Tamacti Jun. So you'd think that it would make sense that if they wanted to give Lucian an earned death, instead of Shiloh facing off with Magra, it would have been Lucian who had led the assassination, and Tamacti Jun and Magra would have had their face off with him and killed him there, because then that would have paid off all the setup that they had previously. It would have brought like that final conflict into a satisfying conclusion, and Lucian's death would have been earned.
Yeah.
At this point, like, they just kill him off for no good reason, and in the stupidest way possible, because the idea that Sybeth can kill this guy and still count on like his witchfinders to follow her doesn't make any sense at all to me.
I think they were going for shock value.
I know they were going for
like,
shock value, but it doesn't make any sense.
No,
and it felt like a cheap death for the character.
I think I speak for the writers here when I say,
Like, my jaw hit the floor when that happened. I was like, oh shit, Sybeth just killed. Like, it's not unlike Sybeth to kill people who are close to her. Like, how many people has she murdered?
But it's also like a very, like, whenever Sybeth like murdered someone, it was for a very specific purpose. This one felt like the old cliche of like the evil villain killing his henchman because he annoyed him.
Yeah, it was very 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a very 80s villain
So far,
thing.
we have slavers instead of
Cannibals instead of slavers.
We have Lucian in the role of the guy who gets killed instead of
Shiloh.
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 Whatever.
And we have the mutants from
Judge
Dredd is out there in the junkyard instead, maybe. Yeah, okay. We're fixing it.
We're fixing it.
Fixed it.
We're
It's
fixing
good.
it.
We got more to go, though.
Yeah.
I did like the negotiations between Tormada and Sybeth, though.
Yeah, that was
Everything that happened between those two.
That was right on
great.
character for both of them.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, how can I trust you? And he's like, you probably can't.
Yeah.
Ooh, and that probably turned her on so much.
She was like,
She's like, listen, my last guy was named Kofun.
I-
You are so much better than him.
I can't even stand here and talk to you anymore. I have to go pray.
I'm really good at hand jobs.
She really is.
Hand jobs get you
Handy,
pregnant.
Yeah. Don't do it with your snake teeth.
All right, let's get going.
All right. Poopbeard, Ren, and Baba lure the cannibals back into the lowlands, killing all of them, but leaving one injured enough so that he'll lead them to Hanawa. But as Boo Boo follows the injured cannibal to his camp, Ren and Poopbeard stay behind because it's not like Baba would need their help or anything. They'll just chill out until the fighting is over and hope everyone is still alive by the time they decide to finally get there. Once at Casa du Cannibal, Boo Boo kills the guards and has an Indiana Jones moment with a cannibal who's almost as big as he is. Inside the cannibal lair, it turns out Harlan was able to get one of the sharp broken shards before being dragged away and cuts himself loose, but instead of going to untie Hanawa, he moves off screen, which means Hanawa can no longer see him. So Hanawa makes a bunch of noise trying to do something, and then they get attacked by some lone cannibal that Harlan has to fight off. Boo Boo finally defeats the semi-giant cannibal, and Ren and Poopbeard finally decide to arrive, just in time to see Harlan die from a cut to the chest. Hey, remember that time Harlan got stabbed through the gut by an assassin in season 2 and was totally fine? Yeah, us neither. Turns out Harlan's instant healing powers passed to Kofun this season. And now that Harlan's dead, everyone can get back to the main quest of traveling to Pensa, even though the only man who knew the route back just died.
Dun, dun, dun.
The wrong person died in this scene.
The wrong man died.
Yeah.
Should it have been Hanawa?
Yes!
Well, this is another unearned death, right? So like we love Harlan. He's one of our favorite characters from
He's the
season
best of
2.
us.
Like,
Yeah.
And this idea that like suddenly like his death is with Hanawa instead of Magra. Like what a cheap way to like kill off such a wonderful, like he should have died protecting Magra. And then that last scene between him and Hanawa should have been between him and Magra, where he's like, I've always loved you. And because he's dying, Hanawa's forced to admit that, or Magra's forced to admit that she actually has feelings for him in front of Baba. And so like, at least like give us like a good send off for this character instead of just like throwing away his death like in such an unearned fashion. And it was so stupid how he died too.
It was like a minor cut to the rib or something like that. It was just bleeding out. I'm like, there's no arteries there. What the fuck is going on?
Hannah would just like puts the flap of his shirt over it. She's like, it'll be fine.
It'll be okay.
It'll be okay.
We need a healer.
She doesn't even put pressure on it. She just like 2-finger puts the flap of his shirt over it. She's like, I think it'll be fine. We'll get him to a healer.
Like wrap that shit up and put some pressure on it.
But I mean, Harlan was such an important character for 2 seasons, and this is the way he goes out. This was like the most insulting death in the episode, and this is one of the reasons why I think this episode crossed the line from funny, enjoyable to bad, because this was not the way to treat this character. Like he should have gone out with a meaningful death.
We all love Harlan. He's one of the best characters in the show. We love his snarkiness. He's super smart. He's always on top of shit.
He was smart until this episode.
This episode, and I was seriously bummed out when they killed him off.
Yeah.
But I agree with you 100%. But besides that, like watching Hannah like stumble through, like still being tied up and like hopping away from
fucking loud bitch.
Like, God damn it!
Yeah,
stumbles
like,
into like a wall of glassware.
She really did pull a Kofun, but it's funny because like as soon as Harlan goes off screen, she's like, "Where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
I can't possibly see him."
He's in the other room.
And like she gets up on her feet, she's like hopping around, and like no one can hear her hopping. But then like the minute that she like falls into something, it's like,
why?
Oh, come on.
Why did she fall into that thing?
Fucking look around. You have working eyes.
It was so ridiculous.
And the fact that Harlan died didn't surprise me. I figured they were going to kill him off.
Oh, they're going to kill off pretty much everybody in the show.
Yeah, exactly. But the way that he died is a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
He
Now
deserved better.
Now that Kadish pointed it out, like a death in Pensa fighting for his city would have been way better.
And fighting for the woman he loved.
So they killed Lucien wrong and they killed Harlan wrong.
Yeah. Who else?
But I will say that
just this episode.
I will say that the fight between Boba Voss and like the semi-giant cannibal, that was cool. But it's kind of funny because like, you know, one of the things Tropper told us is that it's hard to find a good kind of foil to Jason Momoa because he's so big.
Exactly.
And so like you could tell that this guy was big, but he wasn't as big as Jason Momoa because Momoa kept doing like his whole thing where he's like on the ground.
Yeah.
And so it makes the guy look bigger.
Yeah.
But like as soon as they get on their feet, Momoa's just like towering over this
7 feet tall.
Yeah.
You know what I want to happen in the last episode? I want Ito, Lucien, and Harlan to all come back zombified.
Ooh.
and then it just fades out. And
Well,
it's
you know,
the apocalypse.
they could, because if there's mutant cannibals out there could certainly be zombies.
Right.
So might as well.
The thing that killed me most about this scene is where was Poopbeard and Ren? They were just like chilling out in like the car junkyard for like this whole time while Baba's doing all the heavy lifting.
She had to put out that fire she started.
I don't
Fire
know.
safety.
I forgot. To tell you the truth, I forgot they were there. I was just watching
Just
Jason.
kinda forgot?
The writers forgot too.
I was watching Jason Momoa do his thing against the freaking giant cannibal guy, and I was like, "This is cool as fuck." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, Ren."
Yeah, it's like Ren and Poopbeard literally show up like right after Boba Voss like kills everyone and does all the hard lifting.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, where were they this whole time? Ren saw it. Like she could have led Poopbeard after Boba Voss, and they could have helped him with all like the soldiers and stuff like that. But instead, the writers were just like, that's too complicated. We're just going to keep them off to the side until time for them to like show up at the end.
I didn't even think about that till just now. You're right. They had two characters that just
Disappeared. Yeah, they were gone.
And like, where's Hanawa's bow and arrows? Couldn't Ren have picked that up?
Or Ren, like she would have been desperate to save Hanawa.
Right.
So like she could have been the one in there like fighting off and, you know, helping Harlan out and stuff like that. It makes no sense that they would just sit around in the junkyard until like after Boba Voss kills everyone.
Yeah, she's like, ugh, where am I going to find another sighted lesbian in this world? Fuck.
There are slim pickings.
Right?
Fucking Jude.
one with a really I'm not going to go there. It's going to be mean.
I was going to say something about the bow and arrow, but fuck it. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. Keep going, Kate.
Are we almost done with this?
Yeah. All right, one more.
One more? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Kofun is galloping home, but since he's Kofun, he gets caught in a trap and is captured. That's the Kofun we all know and love.
He's back.
It's like
It's a trap. He's he's on his horse. He's like, this looks like a trap. And then it springs and he's like,
All right, but at camp, fuck you, Pensa. Sybeth dons her queenly headdress and is excited to start destroying Pensa with her new evil king. Turns out Tormada somehow built and transported at least 3 massive, heavy metal trebuchets right in front of the city of Pensa without anyone hearing or noticing them. How do they know where to aim them? How do they calculate trajectory and distance? How did they get them there so quick? Hopefully we'll find out in the next episode, but this is C, so we probably won't.
Listen,
Also,
in the second episode, when they blow the shit out of everybody, right? At the boat.
at the Ganites?
At the SS.
SS DirecTV?
DirecTV.
Yeah.
He had the dude with the sight.
Yeah, set everything up.
Set everything
Ullman?
up.
Yeah, Olamon.
He set all those bombs up.
And they were like
That blew them
tripwire.
all
Or
up.
no, there was a
Yeah.
fuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how the fuck are they doing this without anybody that can see in the army?
Yeah, I think fuse bombs are probably easier to place than a fucking
trebuchet.
catapult.
Yeah.
Because you have to see like where like you're shooting, because even in medieval times with people who had sight, they would overshoot the mark and they'd have to adjust stuff.
Yeah, they would have to pull it back or move. Yeah, there's a huge calculation in figuring out where this thing's going to land.
Where was all of this trebuchet stuff in the convoy of bombs that they were dragging
It's
around?
separate.
And also, they were carrying all that shit, and Bob was like, we'll never catch up to them.
No.
What do you mean?
The trebuchets, I don't think were with Hewlett. They were being set up when he arrived with the bombs.
So who set them up? And like, how did no one in Pensa notice this?
They're all dead.
Does Tormada have?
Everyone in Pensa's dead?
The council.
The council's dead.
But the
There's
villagers
an entire
aren't.
Village.
You've got Ayura's there.
None of them can see.
You got Joe, the bartender, Joe. What's his last name?
But Joe Stretche.
Stretche, he's there.
But can't you like hear stuff like when you're assembling heavy metal trebuchets? It's gonna make noise.
It's Godwind.
And plus all like remember the Marty McFly escape.
Yes.
You've got people coming in and out of that city. You'd think that they'd pass by close enough to be like, oh wait, there's something over there.
What if when they got there, they were like, Pensa's under siege and like everybody's locked down and they can't leave the gates?
Like I could buy one trebuchet, but they had like 3 or 4 trebuchets in that final scene.
Also, I forgot to mention, remember when they walked past that pit? I just wanted somebody to fall in.
I mean, like 3 or 4 trebuchets, like that's a big ask for suspension of disbelief, because one of those, like those things are made of metal and they require a great deal of like math and geometry to assemble correctly.
Required semi trucks to drag around.
Yeah. Like how did they get all that stuff from like Travantes or like some type of like the House of Enlightenment or like wherever they were, crafted and assembled? How did they get them there?
I don't know, dude.
Oh, I know what it is. So they got a convoy of carnival carnies to drag these things all over the place, and they put them together. You know, like how you could put like a Ferris wheel up in like 2 hours.
Oh, they have war roadies.
Yeah, they have war roadies.
Yeah.
But a bigger sin here is like, so they introduced the concept of these trebuchets in this very episode. And when you're doing a TV show, it's like, okay, you're going to introduce this game-changing new thing in the same episode that it's revealed, whereas you could have done this episodes ago. So like the final reveal actually feels like it was properly set up. Like the final shot of this is cool, but it makes no sense.
Yes.
I'm with you, man.
Welcome to the party, dude.
Game over, man.
It's fun tearing the show apart, but I still having fun with it.
Dude, I'm not going to like.
I love this show.
Yeah.
I recommend it to everyone.
We
Absolutely.
ripped this episode to shreds.
This is like
I still had the most fun with this episode.
That's part of the joy of this episode.
Yeah, like fucking cannibals.
How
Yes,
absurd
please.
it is.
Give me more of that. That was amazing. The junkyard of woe. I loved it.
Yeah.
Like watching them hop around off the trucks and Hannah went freaking shooting at things like Legolas and shit like that. I was like, this is Jason Momoa doing his little freaking gorilla spin thing. I was like, fuck yeah.
I'll tell you what,
I think
though.
they need to get like a couple thousand water bottles, and catch them on fire, and launch that with the trebuchet.
Yes.
It's like a giant melting bottle water bomb flying through the air. That'd be pretty
I'm
cool.
still holding out hope that JCVD just like walks across screen and like winks into the camera on the last episode.
Hey, remember that time in Time Cop? And he's in his Time Cop uniform. He's like, where the fuck am I?
He's in his outfit from Cyborg.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cyborg gear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the worst part about this episode, though, is basically they've taken every sided character that we've spent 3 seasons with and made them into complete Kofoons, complete idiots that are just unable to basically like do things that basic people with sight are able to do.
Kofoon is an adjective.
I know, that's amazing. Dude, you totally Kofoon that.
Hey, you kids that can see, go hide under that tree so the adults can fight over.
No, go hide in front of the tree.
Yeah.
Kofoon, like that last scene where like he's riding up that hill and like they okay, so first of all, why did they hide the tripwire?
How did they know it was hidden?
Who are they hiding it from? Nobody can see it. They don't have to hide
Well, they
it.
knew Kofoon was coming on this horse.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
we don't have to hide it. You'll just run into it.
Seriously.
I'm convinced Tormada's using the satellite dish to just beam like messages to people because like the level of awareness that people have here is just like crazy. It might have just been like that trap was meant to stop anyone from coming towards Camp Fuck You Pensa.
Yeah.
And so like it just so happened Kofoon like ran
Was
into
the
it.
first
I mean,
person.
Yeah.
if the 4 of us got transported 500 years into the future in a society of blind people in the apocalypse, we would own that world in like
You hope.
in about a year.
No, we would.
We would just totally take the planet over. It would be awesome. I want to go. Let's do it.
You want to live in the world of C?
We could lead armies places that no one else could.
I feel like I would end up someone's bard.
Snake,
You'd be the queen of snakes.
I mean, Kofoon and Hanawa should be ruling Pittsburgh right now.
Oh, speaking of, when Bob is like, you're going to be king someday, and he's like,
I'm like,
what? No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, he is not.
I also like that never crossed his mind. He's like, wait a minute, me king?
What?
I'm just the prince to the queen.
How does that even work?
And consort to the other one. Yeah.
Oh, Kofoon, you poor bastard. All right, is that it? That's the end of the episode?
That's the end of the episode.
Oh, boy. Listen,
more.
man.
Do you still like it as much as you did before we started talking about it?
I had so much fun. I ended this episode with a smile on my face going, this is going to be hilarious to watch the season ending. Like, everything's going to explode. Everybody's going to die. They're obviously just setting this thing up to just
Kill
implode
everybody.
upon itself.
Kill everything.
Like, there's not going to be anything left. Nobody's ever going to be able to pick up season 4 ever. Everybody's going to be dead. And I'm like, I'm here for it, man. Let's go out on a bang.
We're gonna have the C universe. We're gonna go to Europe or
I legitly, I would love to see what's going on in the Southwest, in Vegas and stuff like that in this universe. Like, I feel like of all the places, that would be the place where the most is going to still be around, and people are going to be like living in the old skeleton of Vegas. I think that'd be fun.
It'd be funny if everyone in California had sight.
Because they're all vegetarians or some shit.
Something. It's like an entire state of just like sighted people, and they're like,
And their solar panels still work.
yeah, 500 years later. Yeah.
Yes.
you guys-
statues to Gavin Newsom.
Everyone in California was vaccinated, so like the virus didn't wipe us out, man.
So you guys, there's only 2 episodes left.
But anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks, guys, for being here for the cast and crew. Hang on tight, guys. It's gonna be
Oh, they're already done. They're off to other stuff.
if you worked on this show and you're still watching at this point, salute to you.
Yeah, thanks.
God damn.
And also, we're sorry. But, I mean, it's fair.
Jude's like, come on.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, come on.
All right, Fee.
We need more sided lesbians in the show.
You fucking broke me with that shit. All right, V. Say goodbye to the people. Where can they find you on the socials?
Hey, goodbye, people. Loving this show. It's silly, stupid, and it's fun to talk mass shit about. It really is. But it's still cool. So whatever. You can find me at Matt Vader 74 on the Twitter and Facebook and things.
Right on.
Yep, I'm out there.
Jude, take it away.
I just want to say, I fucking love this show. I have loved it from episode 1, and I have loved it every step of the way. I am very excited for the final 2 episodes, and I'm very sad that it's ending. And it's even though we tear it apart, and there's a lot to tear apart, but that's part of the fun of it, and it's so much fun to just be like, what?
Yeah.
Also, you can find me at I am Juju on the socials.
All right. Matt Kadish.
Sorry I went so hard on the show, everyone who works on it. You just make it so easy. But you can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and Truth Social. KadishBooks.com takes you to my Amazon page, and hashtag Harlan deserved better.
Yes, he did.
He did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should hire Matthew Kadish to rewrite episodes.
I am available. So just putting that out there.
You're actually not.
Yeah, you're not. You have so much work on your plate.
Oh, I would ditch you guys in a second. I'm like, Tropper, my new best friend Tropper is on the phone, so I gotta go, guys.
Yeah.
Find yourself a new producer.
Figure your shit out. See you later.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to comment below what your favorite part of the episode was. How many holes did we poke on? Are you counting?
Did we get everything?
Did we get a tally mark? Let us know. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much. We have a blast. Stay tuned. Next week is going to be episode what? 7?
Penultimate episode.
Penultimate. Cheers.
Shit.
Yeah, it's the big attack on Pensa. I believe it's called Godfire.
Yeah. No, God Thunder.
God Thunder. Yeah.
Yep. All right, we'll be there next week. See you there. Stay salty.